Well, Mr.
Order,
Speaker.
order. The member hasn't called yet.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
I've got 5 minutes.
In reply.
This is 5 minutes, sir? Yes. Mr. Speaker, I'll just take a brief time in my 5 minutes to point out that the National Party was so bereft of an argument that they put up a whole lot of lightweights and one heavyweight. No. First of all, they put up the man from Epsom, a man called Goldsmith, whose most famous act in politics... Well, I'm now to
Point of order.
Point of order.
The member should use the full name. And I know this member's been here 5 minutes, but maybe it's time he actually obeyed by the rules of this House.
Order. I know it's Wednesday night. I know it's members' night. And I also know that we have a debate on the floor, and I'd ask members to show some courtesy to members speaking. Remember, courtesy is contagious. The Right Honourable Winston Peters.
They put up Paul Goldsmith, and right then we realised that the National Party had no defence to one of the soundest bills ever presented to this House in the last 20 years. Now, the next person they put up, not speaking strictly in this order, but they picked up someone who used to specialise in weeds and how to grow flowers in wintertime on Radio New Zealand and TVNZ. And pot mixers. Pot mixers and what not to do most of the time when the sun's not growing and the shining. Oh, hello.
Point of order, the Honourable Member. Margaret Berry. Order.
I take exception. I take offence at what was said about me, Mr. Speaker.
Sorry, I didn't hear what was said about you, Ms. Barry.
Well, I did, and I found it offensive, and I was hurt by it.
Yeah. Well, can I just remind members... Order.
Speaking to the point of order. Speaking to the point of order.
Speaking to the point of order.
Speaker, I find it very hard to believe that someone could be hurt by someone rising in the House and saying that when they were doing this job that was befitting their talents, they did a brilliant job doing it. Now, I can't see how you could possibly be offended by that.
Look, the Honourable Member Tim McIntyre...
Mr. Speaker, sorry. The Right Honourable Member is now trifling with the chair. When a member takes offence at a comment, irrespective of what that particular speaker might think, that member has a right to lodge her offence, and the usual thing is for it to be responded to appropriately by the speaker, not to be dismissed in that way by the person whose call was interrupted.
Right. Can I just ask members to relax? And when you're relaxed, relax even more. All right? The reality is that contributions in the House will be made with respect to the traditions of the House, as it's enshrined in the standing orders. And I ask members, and I crave your understanding for that, an offence has been taken, I'd ask the member to withdraw.
I withdraw.
Thank you, Mr. Peters.
We are very, very sensitive tonight. Clearly. Now, Maggie Barry got up and told us everything she didn't know about economics.
She was right.
It was through the looking glass speech. Everything she said was a mirror image of how she behaves. Everything she talked about was a mirror image of what she believes. But the plain, blunt fact is that the only one that was making any sense, but only in a vicariously unusual way, was Mr. Hayes. He got up and he spoke with the least amount, the man from Wairarapa, the member from Wairarapa, with the least amount of conviction I've ever seen him speak. Because he knows internationally that what he just said was ridiculous. And that's why he focused on the year 2000 and the year 1984. But here is the fact. Here's the fact. The last one that came up from Hamilton, of course, his speech was so devastating that he collapsed before his argument did. He personally collapsed into his chair before his argument did, had an epiphany and thought he could rise again for the closing 45 or seconds. Now, I'm going to tell the National Party this one thing. If they think in 2014, as the people go to an early election, for there will be one, that they're going to not feel sorry about tonight's debate, they are so wrong. There's been a huge sea change in New Zealand, and it's reflected in a lot of conversations and a lot of meetings around this country. And one of the principal things that I'm picking up, and I do travel this country extensively, to places where these members would never go, and most of the people in the business world are saying, yeah, I know, the Rivertons, the Kumaras, a whole lot of country towns like Dargaville that they've never seen or heard about. But the people in the National Party are saying, these guys don't do anything. That's their principal complaint. The National Party promised a brighter future. For who, they're asking? They won't do anything. And when a thing like a grossly overvalued currency that the IMF says is overvalued by 20% plus, not a little bit overvalued, as Mr. Goldsmith said, but when they say it's overvalued by 20%, when the IMF say that, and when somebody comes down as the head of the Reserve Bank and like some Haitian witch doctor pores over his mind, doesn't know what to do next, or maybe I'll put up the loans to value ratios in Kaitaia and in Invercargill, and that'll stop house price inflation in Auckland. When you see people of great training desperate to be let out of the constrictions that the National Party has got them in, you know it's time to change the law. And make no bones about it, I have seen in the past parties sitting there like that, cocky as anything, but this is the 5th year, and now there's creeping doubt. I'll give them some advice. Don't believe what the cabal and cabinet are telling you, because they don't care. They won't care about that member's destiny. They won't care about the backbencher's destiny. They'll only be concerned about their own destiny. And when that happens, it'll all be sadly, Maggie Barry, it'll all be sadly too late for even you on the North Shore. Look at the parade of people who've been through that seat lately. And what will save her? Mr. Speaker, this is a very sound bill. I thank the Labour Party and the Green Party for backing it, because one day this bill, or its intentions, may be modified, as Mr. Parker says, but its intention to have a realistic, authentic, export-sympathetic dollar for an export-dependent nation will become a reality.
The question is that the motion be agreed to. Order. I'm putting the vote. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will please say aye. Aye. To the contrary, no. No. Those have it. The ayes have it. Party vote is called. The clerk will please conduct a party vote. In silence.
New Zealand National.
59 votes opposed.
New Zealand Labour.
33 votes in favour.
Green Party.
14 votes in favour.
New Zealand First.
7 votes in favour.
Māori Party.
3 votes in favour.
Mana.
1 vote in favour.
ACT New Zealand.
1 vote opposed.
United Future.
1 vote opposed.
Brendan Horan.
1 vote in favour.
Order. I'm on feet. Can I just remind members that when votes are being taken, they're supposed to be taken in silence, because any comment can be taken as intimidation, and it can actually lead to a breach of privilege if someone should wish to lodge one. Thank you. Honourable members, the ayes are 59, the noes are 61. The motion is not agreed to. Now, call on members' order of the day number 3.
Employment Relations, Continuity of Labour.